Good afternoon, Robert Scribbler filming for the OBX wave report on this Friday, September the 15th, another Fridays for Future as Hurricane Lee lashes the Outer Banks with strong northerly winds in the range of about 30 miles per hour. So getting close to gale force, and a very large surf in the range of 7 to 12 feet depending on which beaches you happen to be looking out at this stormy North Atlantic Ocean from. Here at Jeanette's Pier, we've got waves likely in the range of about 7 to 10 feet. These waves breaking well off the end of the pier, which is 1,000 feet out into the Atlantic Ocean, and sometimes the end of the pier looking like the prow of a ship, getting smashed by these big rollers coming in off the North Atlantic. The character of the surf has changed a bit to rolling surf, which means we've got more in the way of lone surf and white water, and these huge walls of white water. Not as much in the way of plunging surf, although we do have some more hollow plunging waves in some locations still visible, but for the most part, big foamy rolling surf blown out by Lee, and very large waves in the 7 to 10 foot range here at Jeanette's Pier. We have had very stormy conditions over the past couple of days, but we do expect surf conditions to start to subside as we get further through the day today and into tomorrow, and much more pleasant surf conditions expected by the time we get into late Saturday, early Sunday, and into Monday. So on the backside of Lee, we expect some nice surf Sunday and Monday. We just got to get through this heavy surf period. It's worth noting I haven't seen any surfers out there today, and probably a good thing because the conditions are very rough and riled. All right, so let's get down to some of the local wave observations provided by the wave monitors. I've got my own estimate for wave heights. I'm going to get into that at the end of the monitor reports and buoy reports. But let's get into it. Right now at Nag's Head, we've got 7 to 10 foot waves, choppy conditions with an east-southeast swell at 8.1 feet and northerly winds at 25 miles per hour. Air temperature in the range of the middle 70s, ocean water temperatures 77 degrees Fahrenheit. To our north in Virginia Beach, we've got 7 to 9 foot choppy surf. Oh, there's a plunging wave right there. And heading on down south to Rodanthe, we've got 8 to 10 foot plus waves and choppy conditions with the east-southeast swell at 10.8 feet. Worth noting that the buoy just off of Rodanthe showing 12 to 13 foot swell. So very large waves at Rodanthe. Winds in the range of 30 miles per hour out of the north. Air temperature 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Ocean water temperatures 81 degrees Fahrenheit at Rodanthe. And then further south at Buxton, we've got 8 to 10 foot plus waves with choppy conditions. A southeast swell at 10.3 feet and 15 seconds buoy off Buxton, also ranging from 12 to 13 feet. Air temperature 75 degrees, ocean water temperatures 82 degrees with those strong northerly winds in the range of about 31 miles per hour. And last of all at Frisco, Frisco actually might be the only location where you could get some non-crazy choppy surf. We've got 7 to 10 foot waves and fair conditions with those winds blowing offshore, likely hollowing out the waves down there in Frisco. From my point of view, given strong conditions, I'd say that the waves for the Outer Banks right now are ranging in the solid 7 to 10 foot range, but with outlier waves or swell waves in the range of 12 foot or more, depending on your location. All right, so let's get down to the reports from the National Hurricane Center. We still have a very stormy, very hot, record hot North Atlantic Ocean, producing a lot of hurricanes and tropical cyclones. And right now, Lee is a Category 1 hurricane at 85 35 miles per hour, heading toward the north off the U.S. mid-Atlantic coastline, well offshore. Lee is likely to make landfall as a tropical storm, powerful ex-tropical storm between down east Maine and Nova Scotia. Large waves across the U.S. East Coast today as a result of Lee and across the Outer Banks. The second tropical system that is being monitored by the National Hurricane Center is Tropical Storm Margot at maximum sustained winds of 70 miles per hour. And this storm is expected to meander toward the west of the Azores and slowly weaken over the coming days. Wow, some powerful surf up there, just off the end of Jeanette's Pier. The third system being monitored by the National Hurricane Center is a disturbance in the central tropical Atlantic with a 90% chance of developing into a cyclone over the next 48 hours. If it develops into a tropical storm, that system will become Nigel. It's worth noting that some of the model forecasts do have the system developing into a tropical cyclone. Over the next few days, we'll have to keep an eye on what could be Nigel out there in the central tropical Atlantic at this time. And last of all, the National Hurricane Center is monitoring a new tropical wave emerging off the coast of Africa. This system showing a 20% chance of developing into a tropical cyclone over the next week. All right, so today is Friday, September the 15th, and that means it is another Fridays for Future. So I'm just going to ask you guys to please do everything you can to help support our good climate activists who are doing so much to try and urge governments and businesses and individuals to act on the climate crisis and to work to mass deploy clean energy and speed our global human system to a more sustainable system that will tamp down the impacts of climate change. And unfortunately, climate crisis and climate change do result in so many harmful impacts. And I'm going to talk a little bit about one recent storm that was impacted by climate change. One of the reasons why our good climate activists are out there protesting in Australia today, and why I'm asking for you to support the Fridays for Future movement. All right, so the storm I'm going to talk about was Storm Daniel, which resulted from a combination of an omega block, a blocking high pressure system, and hotter than normal temperatures over the Mediterranean. The Daniel was pushed out of the omega block, created a kind of vortex feature in the atmosphere over the Mediterranean, which then tapped into the energy provided by those hotter than normal Mediterranean waters to become a Mediterranean cyclone. This storm dumped as much as 43 inches of rainfall over parts of the Mediterranean, and in particular inundated Libya, whose infrastructure had not been updated for decades, and resulted in a dam collapse in Libya that has so far claimed 1,300 souls, with up to 100,000 people still missing. So when I talk about more intense storms as a result of climate crisis, Daniel is an example of one of those. And it is the type of storm which is now possible due to the heating of the Earth's atmosphere and ocean by fossil fuel burning. And if fossil fuel burning does continue, storms like Daniel will become more frequent, and worse storms than Daniel will begin to emerge. And that's just one of the impacts of climate crisis. So I'd just like to ask you guys to please do everything you can to help support our climate activists on this Fridays for Future, or to join them to lift your own voice in asking for governments, for businesses, for any kind of institution and individual to do everything they can to help mass deploy clean energy being wind, water, solar, and electric vehicles and batteries and electrification systems that support them, as well as to help move our human system to a more sustainable system that provides sustainable growth rather than unsustainable growth. All right, so thank you for joining me on this Fridays for Future. If you do get out in the water, please be very careful. As you can see, it's a real maelstrom out there. And I hope you guys do get in the water as conditions calm down over this Sunday. Thank you for joining me once again.